We sang that song, My Soul Longs for You, right? It comes straight from the scriptures because Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, right? And what's the blessing? They will be filled. If you're here in halfness today, just continue to seek Him in His righteousness, and I don't doubt that God would fill you as we continue to seek Him. We prayed for missionaries all over the place, and we sent these guys to the remotest part of the world, better known as Pawhuska, Oklahoma. And they're going to tell you how much of an end-of-the-world experience it was. So we can't wait to hear what they're doing. For those of you that remember Doug Knudsen, he said, I've been praying for you, now it's time to act like it. I think we've prayed for them, and I think they acted like it. So it's always good to hear how God answered our prayers. We can't wait to hear what's going on.
We have Lauren Williams put together a short video for us to watch, just a lot of pictures and some music set to it. So let's enjoy that first. All right. I'm going to say a quick prayer. The reason why is there are some people in our group that are nervous, don't like sharing, and feeling a little anxious. So I'm going to pray, and as they share, just pray in your mind. Just send prayers to them because I do feel like it's important for them to express what God did the week that we were in Oklahoma. So you guys bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father, I just thank you for bringing us here together. I thank you for the worship. Lord, I thank you for what you taught us throughout the week in Oklahoma. I just pray, Lord, that you would convey it through these teens and these adults. And I just pray, Lord, that you would speak through them. And I pray all these things, Lord, that you would give them courage and you give them strength and clarity. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. We're just going to get started, and they are going to start sharing. I asked them to share 3 things and some variation of it, something that they learned, something that they experienced that they want to share, and then something that God changed in their heart, something that an area that they grew in their heart with the Lord. So.
Hi, everybody. A lot of people. Oh, boy. All right, so I'm Macy. Hello. So something that I experienced was love. The night we washed each other's feet, like everyone was loving on each other, and like everybody got so close, and it was really cool. And just the whole trip, everyone was loving each other. So that was cool. And then something I learned was how the Osage people were treated and how they were, like, kicked off their land and, like, everything like that. So, and then something God taught me was, I guess, patience, because I was really irritated that I did not get to work with the kids because I love kids. So I was irritated. But, so I learned how to work hard in the work site that I was in. So, yeah, that's it. For the first 2 days, we picked up these giant sticks at a disc golf course. It was hot, and it was very hard work. And then the last 2 days, my group worked in a soup kitchen. So that was really cool. Talked to lots of cool people. So, yeah.
Okay, I'm Andra. I haven't really been on a mission trip like this, so it was really cool. And thank you so much to everyone for financial support, spiritual support through prayer. Something like saw they're amazing waterfalls. We went for a run and saw waterfalls. And the night of the foot washing was very, very powerful. And just started crying when the leaders started washing my feet. Heidi washed my feet. And realizing that I don't deserve to be served. And thinking why Jesus would die for me. I don't know. And then God changed my attitude through that. Just showing that even though we don't deserve to be served, He loves us, and it breaks my heart when I think that I don't serve God back. And I worked in a house throughout the week, and we scrubbed this disgusting oven. I scrubbed a rack for 2 hours. And my attitude was like, this is useless. Nobody's going to notice. And then God changed my attitude again. Just reminded me that I'm blessing someone through this. And the verse Colossians 3:23 through 24 really stood out to me again. It says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as if working for the Lord. Reminded me that I do everything for the Lord, and that was something, even the small things. I realized how blessed I am after working in that house. It was really dirty and disgusting, and it's crazy how much Jesus blessed us. And, yeah, I think that's all.
Well, I'm Grace. I think most of you know that, though. Something that I experienced, it's kind of really hard to pick one. I've experienced a lot. It's kind of overwhelming. But I worked at the Christ Cabinet one day, and it's basically like you pack food for people that don't have food and, like, people that are in need, like natural disasters and stuff. And I was with Heidi, Lauren, Mariana, and Kaylin. And it kind of just, like, hit me the second day that we were there that, like, oh, my gosh, like, when my mom was sick, they did this for me. When my dad got, like, his heart attack, they did this for me. When my house caught on fire and we had nothing, my whole community did this for me. And this was God. Like, I got that before, but just, like, doing it for other people and just seeing the other side of it was, I don't know how to explain it. It was very, like, hard to take it in, but it was important to see the other side of it and to be able to give back the same way people have given to me. And it was very moving, and God really opened my eyes to appreciate more, because we might not have as much as we used to now, but it's still a lot. And then the foot washing was super, super, like, overwhelming in a good way. And Zach asked us to lay on our backs and just to thank God for the week and stuff. And I was just crying because, like, at the beginning of the week, they asked us, what's holding you back? And I told them, I said, you know, I trusted God before the fire and stuff. And I don't know if you guys know this, but my family, my mom, my brother, and I were all in the house sleeping when it happened. And they almost didn't get us out. So my trust kind of was, like, very weak. Like, how could he let death be so close? But just in that moment, I finally realized that God's making me new. Zach mentioned that the fire can represent cleansing you. And he did that for me. And I was just laying on my back, and I got this image, and I was crying, and I said, I know things are going to be hard when I get back home, but you have me and stuff. And God kind of, like, I got this image in my head, and it was just God looking at me, and he was laughing. And, like, I laugh when I cry and stuff, and it was just like, he's telling me I'm going to be okay. Like, he's going to be there. And it's okay to laugh and joke around and, you know, be happy and stuff. So that was amazing. And then something that I learned is a lot about these kids. We all have something that we've been through, and I've learned that it's okay to be broken with all of them, because it's better to be broken as with each other than alone. And then God changed my trust. That was huge. I prayed and I wanted my trust to be the same that it was before, even better. But I underestimated God because it's so unbelievably big for me now, and I never thought that I could trust him the way I do now. And the people that we helped them, but they helped us a lot more. And I'm just very thankful. So.
Good morning. I'm Tim, and this is my this was my first youth trip ever, and I got to tell you, the battle for me started a long time ago because I only get so much vacation with work, and like I was thinking, like I have my stuff to do, right, and stuff to work on, and you got to just try and get that done. So I was kind of on the fence, wanted to go, didn't want to go. And I got to say, I would have, no amount of accomplishment for me would have been as much of a blessing as it was to go and build relationships with all these young adults. And just seeing the sacrifice that was made on their part. We were, as adult, I had to, essentially not had to, but was blessed with the task of going to the Blue House. So if you hear reference to the Blue House, it was basically a house that was sided blue that we had to, or got to go and fix up for a family of 5, I believe, that was going to move in there with a very small monthly income. The house was extremely rough, and it was hot, it was dirty, something around here that we may just tear down, condemn, whatever. But the group that was there, and this is something that I learned about them, is that they, through all the heat, the dirtiness, the bugs, the everything, they chipped in. They did tasks that most people wouldn't do, and got their hands dirty, got sweaty, completely uncomfortable conditions. But there was a giving there that I saw that came from God, and just their willingness to not complain. I mean, it was 100 degrees or better in that house some days, and the walls were, everything was a mess. And they worked hard. They gave of themselves. And that was a blessing to see, and that was a blessing, I guess, that I experienced through this. And then the connection to be made with a lot of the youth. I had not been involved a lot prior to. But that's kind of the thing I take from it is that the battle for me was of what I wanted to do with my time and my measly little vacation and all that stuff. And what God did in that, and seeing these kids just come alive and share and love on each other and the people out there was truly an amazing experience for me. I'm just blessed to be part of it. So.
Is this okay? I don't want this. Okay, first of all, I would like to thank the whole congregation, which is I would like to thank the whole congregation. No, still? Like to thank you guys for all of your support financially, spiritually. I thank you for praying for us. It means a lot. When you guys give, I know you guys don't have like a bunch of money, but every little thing counts for us. Okay, well, this was my first missions trip, and honestly, I didn't really know what to expect, like at all, other than working in a really needy community. In the past, I'd heard upperclassmen talk about the last missions trip, and it sounded really awesome. But I guess you could say I was a bit nervous. Zach had told us not to have expectations because he didn't want us to be let down. Even though he would always tell us about how awesome the other missions trips he went on were and how life-changing they were, so it was really hard to not have expectations, but yeah. But despite what my heart wanted to do and expect, I decided to go on this trip with an open mind. The ride down south was a great experience. I loved singing and dancing with all my friends, and especially loved watching Joe on his many, many, many drum solos. It was pretty awesome. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Okay. Okay, once we arrived in Pesca, Oklahoma, at the church we were greeted by a very nice youth work staff. It was actually very reassuring because like they were really nice and it kind of comforted me, I guess. Once we started the work sites, I was at first, I guess you could say, like intimidated because there were like all girls and one boy. And where am I at? Yeah, we were called the Buffaloes, our group, yeah. We had Joe and Ken the first day, so it wasn't that bad. We were the group that was at this golf course, like picking up sticks or whatever. But on the day they weren't there, it was just me and Jess in my group. And I remember looking at her, and she looking at me, we're like, oh boy, like, we got a lot on our hands. Okay, so I take it people down south, like, they take things so much slower than us people up north, like, majorly. They're like crew, they're just like sitting there. And there's us Ohioans, those Georgianians, or whatever you call them. I don't know, Georgians, I don't know. They're slower, but it's okay. I learned how to give grace. Okay, hang in there with me. But Jess really stood up and took charge, and we kicked some hardcore butt handling those trees. It turned out we ended up doing like 3 weeks worth of labor for this guy who had been working on this for over like 2 years. It made me really happy when I saw that little like smirk on his face, a little smile. And this experience taught me that even if you do a small job, it can be worth so much more than you could ever imagine to the person you're serving. I forget which day was it? Wednesday, the 4th of July, okay. We went to a soup kitchen in Pesca and prepared a meal and served it to whoever needed it. I remember being really scared to talk to this like girl and her grandma and her daughter or her sister or whatever. And I was just like, God, please give me strength to talk to these people because like I'm scared to death. So yeah, basically he's told me, get your butt up and go talk to them. So yeah, I went over there and her name was Grace. And she was 12 years old, and I remember talking to her for like an hour, and all we talked about was like her pit bull and her cat that had no front claws. And we talked about like VBS and like church, and like her dad and her brothers were all in jail, but she was just like this happy, like little like amazing little spirit. She was just like so joyful, and we're going on this trip like expecting to like serve people and like to teach people about Jesus' love, you know? But like it's really weird because I learned from this little girl. And it was just crazy. Like I was just so thankful for that. So yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so there's that. And getting up at 5:30 to run every morning with the Cross Kids was quite the adventure, you could say. We found this like humongous like span of like waterfalls from this lake cascading down to this like pond thing, and we would swim at like 6 a.m. every morning before, and like drive as fast as we could to get back to the place so we could eat breakfast without getting yelled at by like Hannah and all of them. Last page, guys. There. We also had a time every night when our youth group would go outside in the basketball court and just spend time in fellowship with each other, just like loving on each other, you know, learn more about each other. But the night that really changed my heart was Thursday night. We had been studying John 13, 14 through 17 that day about how Jesus washed his disciples' feet and just like was an example and said, "Go do to others as I do to you." That night, the adult leaders washed our feet, and when Delilah came over to me and asked to wash my feet, my heart just hardcore exploded of like this, all this emotion and this unbearable joy. Like, I think this was the first time I'd really experienced God's love for me, like actually understood and took it in, and just set myself aside from the world, and just kind of soaked him in, I guess. Zach then asked us to lay on our backs in the grass and look up at the stars and spend some time with Jesus. So that's what I did. I laid on my back and looked up at the stars. Being still with God, I was crying to Jesus. It was just pouring my heart out to him. It was an amazing experience. This like changed my heart so much. I feel I really grew closer to God this week, and it was pretty awesome. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, I didn't write a book like Esther did. Mine's really, really short. So, something I experienced was on the nights that we all were together with our youth group, and I just really felt like they became my family for a while, and especially like Braden, everyone. They really became my family, and it was really awesome. And something I learned was that people, like a guy at the disc golf course, he was so, like, thankful, and, like, I don't know, I just learned how, like, what we can do can really, really mean stuff to other people. And what God changed in my heart, bless you, was that even like amidst your own problems and your own issues and what you're going through, you can still serve other people. Like, God never meant for like your own stuff, I guess, to like just stop you from reaching out to other people. So that's what God changed in my heart. So thank you.
I'm Austin. Okay, so something I experienced was kind of like, so I'm like the youngest person in my family, and I'm not really around kids much. So I was expecting to go to this trip and like doing some like labor stuff, like going out 100-degree heat, basically resurfacing roads or something. I don't know. Like, it was, but anyway, so I get there, get all ready. They put us in groups. I'm in the bear group, and turns out we were inside. And it was like 6 through 12, and I was like, all right, 6 through 12th graders, I can do that. 6 through 12-year-olds. So that's how that went. I don't know how to deal with kids that much, but there was like a few that were actually like crawling on my back and like choking me and hitting me with stuff and knocking over things. I'm like, all right. But, you know, that was an experience, and I've gotten a little bit better with them. So that was good. Zero experience to like a little bit experience, so that's good. And a thing that I learned was how God works. So the whole time I was there, I was like, Oklahoma, Buffalo. Like, I was expecting buffaloes to be walking across the street all the time and stuff. Well, I didn't see a single one until, like, I don't even know when we went to Tallgrass Prairie, but we went there. Zach was like, oh my gosh, I really hope there are some, because he was there, like 9 years ago or something? And he remembers there were, like, weeks where there were no buffalo. Absolute zero. Like, he didn't see them for weeks when we went there. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm probably not going to see any buffalo. Well, we go there, and Zach asks us all to pray in our vans, like, pray to see buffalo. And we're like, all right. So I'm doing that, and I'm like 10 minutes in or something in the van, and I'm not seeing any buffalo. So I was like pretty disappointed. But then like we went over this hill, and there was just a watering hole or whatever, and there was just like 70 of them. Baby buffalo, male buffalo, like all of them. And then, so, that was pretty cool. And then, like, they were even, like, getting up and walking literally, like, feet away from the vans and stuff. And it was awesome. And, like, I don't know. Like, it was just, you pray and we received. So it was good. Something that changed in me. Well, there was the time with, like, small group and stuff. It wasn't really a small group. We had, like, 30 people. But it was just like our youth group, and we were just chilling out. A lot of time I didn't really like to share much because, I don't know, my problems, I feel like they're just smaller, and they just don't need to be shared and stuff. But, I don't know. So I guess there's just a lot of people with kind of like the same problems, but, you know, I guess it's nice to share what you do have to say and know that you'll be loved. So, that's it.
And I was getting shoved in the back. Kind of been forced up here. Yeah. I feel like that's how I was every night at the small group. I was like being shoved in the back to talk. So, anyway, I love you guys. It's nothing personal. All right. I had a great time. I want to thank the church for paying for all of us. We have money left over for life now because you guys gave so much, and you paid for 35 people to go to Oklahoma and serve a community, and that's amazing. I want to thank our youth sponsors for taking us. I want to thank the Blue House group. I was in that. I want to thank Aaron, who's not here. He did some amazing things. He was I believe he's one of the people that got the dirtiest out of everyone here. He literally was climbing on his back in a crawl space where a pipe had been broke for like 5 months, and all the dish soap had been running, or dishwater had been running into that area. And he got down there and he fixed basically everything. And that's the experience I will remember forever. And that's like, I'm forgetting someone. I forgot. Who do I want to thank? Oh, I want to thank all the new friends I got. The people from Georgia, I didn't spend much time with them, but they were awesome. They might not work hard, but they were awesome. I feel like at times we were about to have the Civil War again, but it was a good time. So, all right, well, I'm done.
Well, I guess I'll go after my brother, but I wasn't even supposed to go on the trip. I'm not even in 7th grade. But I went on the trip with my mom and dad because they had to go too. So I had a great time. We worked practically the whole time, picking up sticks, trees. When we washed all the feet, it was just great. Maya stayed by me the whole time and helped me. But it was a fun time.
I'm Jacob, and I just want to thank everybody who contributed to us going on this trip. And so, I didn't go on this trip with a very good attitude. I didn't expect much. I didn't want to go, frankly. So I kind of had like a bad attitude for the first couple days. And then I guess on Wednesday when we went to the fireworks and watched the amazing fireworks, my attitude just changed, and I was like, this is good. This is gonna help me. And then God really worked in my attitude, making me more thankful and taking less things that I have for granted. And the thing I learned was that, I was part of the Blue House crew on that house, and we had, I don't know how many, a couple people from Georgia, and they kind of they worked, but they didn't work to the fullest extent that they could have. And so I learned like how to like work with them and around them, and how to like to motivate them to like, you know, try to get stuff done and not just like stand around or whatever. And they ended up doing pretty good. And I learned that I can work with people, different people that I don't know or who may not have the same mindset as I do. That was a big learning experience. And thing I experienced was the heat. Oh my! I knew it was going to be hot. I didn't know it was going to be that hot. Like, I expected it to be like really dry and like kind of, you know, bearable, you know. But it was humid. It was very humid. Like, it was probably 90% humidity the whole entire week. And when we were in that house, I think it got up to like 128 in that house, and it felt every bit of that. It was very hot, and the buffalo were awesome, and they can jump 6 feet vertical, and it's interesting in itself, and that's.
Hi, my name's Dom. I don't know if you guys know me. I run. First, I want to thank God for taking me on this trip. I was very blessed to go with very amazing people. And I want to thank all the sponsors because you guys are amazing. And I thank you very much. I want to thank all the leaders, Zach especially. I learned that on this trip, God works in so many ways. He blessed me the whole week with the people I worked with, and it was an amazing experience. During our trip, I worked a few different sites, the disc golf course. There was a coach who coached 3 different sports and also had time to run a disc golf course. And like, he said that if we wouldn't have helped him, he wouldn't be able to open his thing next week. And he said it would have taken him a year to get all the work done, and we did it in a week. And I felt very humbled for that, and really just God's proven me that he never fails, like no matter what. And every morning we woke up and ran, usually 5:30. The last day was a little earlier than that, about 5 a.m. The night before we stayed up till 1. So, you know, we didn't get a lot of sleep, but it was definitely worth it. Just laughing with group members and becoming closer. This trip really made me appreciate everything I have, and everything I will get, because they don't have as much as we do, and very many people, like, I'm just very thankful for what I have. And on this trip, I really experienced God, and I really know now that whatever happens in my life, God, he will guide me, and God will always be there for me. And I just want to thank you all.
Pastors, elders, deacons and deaconesses, workers of the church, distinguished guests, friends and neighbors. My name is Abigail, and I was assigned to work with the Healthy Kids Camp. So they were all 6 through 12 years old, and when I walked in, I was like, I'm not going to make it through the week. They all had a lot of energy, and by the end of the day, I was exhausted. At one point, I went and hid in the bathroom, and I was like in a stall, and this little girl, 6 or 7, she followed me in there, and she like started shoving these plungers under the stall, and I wasn't coming out. But then she went and like turned on off the lights, and the little girl in the stall next to me started screaming because she was afraid of the dark. So I was like, I'm coming out. And I walked out of there, and the rest of the day I was tired. But the next day I went in with a better attitude, and I decided to stop thinking of myself and more of the kids. And I got to talk with them, and I listened to a lot of their stories, and they were really interested, and I was happy to get to know them. And I played a lot of ping pong with the little boys. So I really loved going on this trip, and I'm glad I decided to go, and thank you for all who helped get us there.
Okay. Hi, I'm Brittany. One thing I learned was just like, all these people are really fun to be with, especially our van and just Joe. Joe's dancing, in case you haven't seen it. One thing I experienced was just the love, and I got to talk to Lauren one night because she was like nervous about some things, and we just sat there for 40 minutes or so, and I just got to talk to her, and I like experienced, I guess I've like been in her shoes, so I kind of know. Yeah, I don't know. I also experienced love on the night of the foot washing when Delilah washed my feet, and she wrote me a note, and she told me, put this in your Bible, and whenever you're upset, just read it. And I actually read it the other day because I was kind of like a little upset about some things. But yeah. So another thing God taught me was that it's okay to not be okay sometimes, because I like to put people's emotions before mine. And I'm always like, well, I'm not okay, but I need to make sure that these people are okay first, because I guess I feel like they're more important. But I guess that's it. I don't know.
Well, I was in the Blue House, and one thing that I experienced was to go slow installing a door handle with Caleb Good. Of course, it's going to go on backwards. And that it's easy to install a toilet with Caleb Good. And that working in the Blue House with Tim was pretty fun, because he knew just about everything.
My name's Matt, and I'm scared of the stage, so they've been hiding in the back as well. So one of the things I learned this week was how to say Puska. You got to Puska. Come on, Puska. So there was an Indian, maybe that's not the proper term, Native American, that taught us how to say that. His name was Daniel Boone, which we thought was quite interesting. He's driving through the town, and he just pulled over to talk to us. He goes, "Hi, I'm Daniel Boone." I thought he was joking, you know. So I laughed, and he didn't laugh. So I ran. No. One of the other things I learned was from the Georgians. So while their work ethic was not your children, I got to tell you, they were absolutely awesome. They did work hard, maybe just not at the same level of intensity that you guys bring, and that's awesome. So you should be proud of yourselves, but be careful not to put them down. One of the things they did teach us is how to say y'all. So that was the other thing we learned this week was y'all. And you got to draw it out a little bit, but we won't go into that. The other thing that happened to me this week was when I saw the bison, I heard the water buffalo songs. So maybe that doesn't happen to you guys, but I hear songs when experiences happen to me. So I heard Larry Boy and Friends singing in my head, and VeggieTales just sort of went off. So I don't know if you guys felt the same thing, but that's what I felt. So everyone's shaking their heads. But the main thing that I experienced this week was just all these kids and the capability that they have to give, the capability that they have to serve, capability that they have to love is something that each one of us have. And I think a lot of times we get tied in our own lives and we stop giving. And I think that the great opportunity for this week was that each one of you had the opportunity to learn how to do that. And I think you make sure that you take that with you, take it back to your schools, take it to your colleges, take it to your friends, take it to your families, Because I know one of the kids that work with me, I mentioned this to his parents, how hard he worked and how he was able to give to others. He doesn't do that at home. And that happens as well sometimes. But that's the other challenge, is that take it home and learn how to be appreciative of the things that each of you have, as I heard a few people say. We did see some very poor poverty. We saw a lot of other things that opened up our eyes, and it was a great opportunity. For those of you that know the Pioneer Woman, I don't know if you saw the picture up there, but a few of our team had, once again, a great experience to meet with her, get some pictures with her. She actually sponsored the fireworks that we went to, and she sponsored some of the work groups that we all worked in. I had the great opportunity to work with Dominic, to work with Taylor, to work with Harrison, and I'm drawing a blank one. That was it in our group. Okay, thank you. And some people from Texas and Georgia. And those three worked extremely hard the entire time. It was awesome to work with them. We got to play musical chairs, so we didn't just get the blue house. We didn't have to change out toilets like Caleb and friends. We didn't have a crappy job. We got air conditioning. So, God was like, hey, Matt, 100 degrees outside. It's all right. So we had some fun experiences. One of our work trips took us out for ice cream. One of our work trips bought us some other things. We got to watch a silent movie in the theater that was built in the early 1900s. So we worked on a lot of different things, and we were blessed in different ways through those experiences, and I think that was really exciting that happened. What changed in me? Just like many people, we often get very selfish, and we get to think about our world and ourselves and our lives and me and me. And I think one of the things that really opened up my eyes in seeing other people serve and having the opportunity to serve is that one of the things that we don't do well is realize that there's a mission field right down the road here. There's a mission field in Greenwich. There's a mission field in Wakeman. There's a mission field at your work. And I think what we don't do well is we don't walk out of this church and take the church to them. And that's my challenge to all of you, is to be the mission field to the people around you, to the children, to the teens, to your neighbors as well. Thank you. I will pick somebody. Taylor wants to go. Awesome.
I didn't actually want to go, but I guess I will. Okay. So, one thing I learned was, how to work hard, because before this, it was I'll learn, their lowest standard and then be, a little bit above that, and then be well, I did this, so they won't notice that I didn't do that. And, one thing I experienced was the heat, not the heat outside, but the heat of the showers. That was terrible. The girls got cold showers, and that would be bad, except when you went into our showers. That was boiling water dumped on you, and then you had to step out. So, one thing I did was painted a principal's office and took inventory for a school, and that is it was a super small school, and 2016 they graduated 4 people. It was a really small school, and one thing God changed in me is I appreciated way more things here, air conditioning and trailers. And, yeah, that's it.
So I have an outline I'm going to say, but I'll just not do that. My name is Harrison. I went on the last mission trip as well as this one. And, I don't know. So it was really cool that we saw all the bison. Like Zach said, he only, sometimes he went, he didn't see any. So it was really cool that we got to experience that. And we saw the Pioneer Woman, which was really cool. Every night after, the whole missions trip, got together, we split up into our groups, and it was really cool. Zach had us each say what we thought the group thought of us, and then they would have like a few people like have a rebuttal, and so that was really awesome that we could learn like how to treat people, I guess. And God taught me that like how to love people better and how to work harder and how to appreciate the stuff that we have, even if you're like, I want to buy this. Like, you have a lot more than what you need, even. So, yeah, that was really cool. Thanks to everyone who, like, everyone to come to our dinners and, like, donating and giving work projects and stuff like that. So, thank you.
All right, so I'm Braden. And first of all, sorry, Jake, it was not 126. It hit 105 one of the days. The showers, they were at least 120 degrees, though. You get in the school and you're like, air conditioning. Gonna take a nice shower. First day we get in there, boiling water. So you kind of have to step in, then step back out real fast, kind of get the boiling water off of you. And then God changed my perspective this week. I was in the Blue House too, and the pastor of the Alliance Church, they owned the house, and he came by one of the days. The family who was going to live there was 5 people, and the only person with a steady income was their grandma, was on Social Security, and they lived on $700 a month. So I just thought how much that is. We spend like $600 a month on groceries. And that's basically it.
Okay. I'm Kylie, and this was my second missions trip. My first one was to New York, so going from New York to Oklahoma was really different. But something that God taught me was to respect all the little kids that I got to work with. I thought that I knew how to work with little kids with having siblings, but these are a lot different. They loved playing doctor and stabbing you, but with love, I guess. That's what I'm going to tell myself. But it was a lot of fun working with them and getting to know them, and especially with one of the little boys. He said that his parents didn't really go to church, but he wanted to, but obviously with being little, he can't take himself. But he said that he would read his Bible in his room and just enjoy the time that he had with God. So I thought that was amazing to hear that someone so small still enjoyed the Word of God, and knowing that the little kids that go after us are still going to be okay. Something that I experienced was not the heat, because I was able to be in AC, so that was nice. But we were able to paint and repaint a house. So it was hard work, but it was also really nice to get to know one another, and especially with the Georgia people. And I was excited that it was easy to talk to them, because I know that it can be hard to keep a conversation going. But it was lots of fun, and I was glad to be able to get to know all of these kids a lot more, and especially with being a graduate and having memories like these I can hold on to forever, so that was nice too.
All right, so I was in the same situation as Reed. Zach had told us that we were going to work with 6th to 12th grade, and then he came in one day, he's like, oh man, I'm like, what? He's like, we're working with 6-year-olds to 12-year-olds. And so we both kind of were not ready for that, but I ended up really enjoying it. With my skin being a little darker than most, they were asking me if I was different races. So they called me Diego the whole week. So that was fun. So, no, but I really enjoyed it. I never really enjoyed kids that much, but by the end of the week, A few of them asked me if I could stay for a whole nother week, but I had to tell them no because we had to leave. So yeah, I really enjoy kids now.
All right. I don't really have a voice because I was in the river and it was really bad. But my name's Nicole, and I was in a situation with Reed and them, except the little girls that like to play with me like to stab me with things and pretend they're like giving me surgery and stuff. It was a really, really weird experience. But it was really nice meeting this one little girl, and she had a past life that wasn't very great. And it was really nice just, getting her to open up and be more of a fun person without sharp objects. So there's that. And then the close to the nighttime, we would go in our small groups, and it was really fun to get to know everyone. Because going into the youth group, I only knew, the people that I went to school with before and stuff. But it was really nice getting to get really close to a lot of them. And I want to thank you all for letting us go on the trip. And it was great seeing how beautiful it is down there and the waterfalls and, everything. And getting to speak with a lot of different people from the town and stuff, and knowing that even though it's really hard for them out there and the people that don't have a lot, they have the biggest faith. And you would think that having nothing would give you the least amount of faith. But they have such big joy and faith for God, and it gives me hope that people that are going through a lot can get out in a lot of faith. Thank you, guys.
Okay, we're going to do this together with some people, they were like, we have to stand up there by ourselves. So I'll go first, and then each of these guys will, and I'll stay here with you. Okay, see, you're not dead yet. They shared a lot of experiences that we had, and it was really cool. And just to give you a little bit of an idea, I felt like it was kind of taking New London and Greenwich, putting them together, and that's kind of the area that we had. And we probably have more than they do, but there are areas in New London and Greenwich that are lower income kind of thing, and I thought that it would be really neat for us to sometime do this in our area even. And the church that we stayed in reminded me a lot of this one as far as the era that it was built. And, we slept in different classrooms and stuff. And the church, they set back up on Wednesday night for the church, and they set back up on Sunday. Youth Works is just there from Sunday night till Friday. And so I thought, well, this would be really neat if our church could eventually do this sometime. So just to give you a vision of kind of what it was like for us as far as experience where we stayed. And then there were no showers at the church, so we showered at the school every afternoon after we were done with our very heated work trips. But it was really neat. Something that changed is that I just learned more about relationships and just relating to people and just seeing how cool these kids are and how much they loved each other and how much they encouraged each other, and just the words that they had. They were just so amazing. It's just hard to put into words. And it was just really a blessing to go with them. So,
my name's Gabby, and this was my first missions trip. And I was kind of a late joiner, but I'm really glad that I got to go and experience this. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that made it possible for me to go. And something that I experienced was love. Every night we'd go on the basketball court with our youth group, and just the foot washing and everything. There was just so much love, and I've never really experienced anything like that before. It's very powerful. I learned that I was able to do work for God and not think of myself, because going into it, I didn't really know what to expect. And kind of I knew it was going to be hot, and I don't really do good in the heat, but it was never extremely hard, and it was just, I was very amazed that I was able to accomplish what I did. And something that God taught me was that I was able to serve others, and I think my relationship with God now is stronger, and I'm just very grateful for that.
My name is Lauren, and this is also my first missions trip.
And I went into it thinking, feeling kind of awkward and, by myself because I'm the youngest of this whole youth group. And I was kind of nervous. But then every night we'd go into our youth group and go out on the basketball court and, get to know each other a little better. And I got to know a lot of the kids a lot better. And, now I don't feel so alone. And I had a really fun time. It was great.
I guess I can talk 4K. I've known Kaylin for a year. I started running cross country with her and stuff, and I got to watch Kaylin grow in her faith and stuff. Talking in front of people wasn't something that she likes, and I got to watch her open up the one night, and just to see her grow with other kids and open up and talk and seeing her work ethic and stuff was amazing. And she's grown a lot in her faith, and I can't wait to see how far she gets.
Hi, I'm Delilah Good, and something I learned is I appreciate Ohio a lot more. The heat was fine. It seems hotter in here right now than there, but we saw a copperhead snake, brown recluses. You have to shoo them away from your bed at night. Well, it wasn't that bad, but and then they have a lot of chiggers. And then I also learned that we have a great group of kids here, and that just need to reach out to them more, and especially me, I need to reach out to you guys more. But you guys did a great job there, and that's what I learned.
Kevin and Marcia out there somewhere? All right, good. The first thing I'd like to say is that this isn't directly related to the trip, but we've done a home group, and we've been talking about overcoming fear and doubt and comparison, unforgiveness, shame, and rejection. And that training that you gave us, I know Matt and Delilah and Tim and Jess would all agree that was very meaningful on this trip with the youth. Those stories came out from the kids in the evenings, and if we wouldn't have had that training, I think we would have had the ability to really help them through a lot of that. So thank you. I do agree that we had the hardest workers and the best attitudes of all the youth groups there. Of course, I'm a little partial to this group, but these kids did an outstanding job, and I'm proud of every one of them. It would take all day to tell all the individual stories, but they know what they are because we spent a lot of time talking about that when we were together. And I do know also that the coach that was mentioned a couple times, that we really blessed him, and that was a big deal. He had made a comment to me that he had spent so much time there over the last 2 years, his wife said if he would die, she's going to bury him there. So, and like they said, we did take over 4 months to a year off of his workload, and his intentions were pure. He wanted to get all these kids out that didn't have a home life to go home to and do something fun with them, and also minister to them and the community. And then the last thing I'd like to say is that we have something really special at this church with this youth group. I had a really strong youth group when I was growing up as well, and what doesn't get handled at home a lot of times gets handled here. And Ken and Heidi do a great job, but I'd like to especially recognize Zach too. He's got a true heart for these group of kids. He wears his emotions on his sleeves. He cries with them. He prays with them, prays for them. And it was just awesome to see everyone come together and have a good time and also learn something about God and about ourselves. So thanks.
My name's Jessica. Y'all are raising some awesome kids. For real. My favorite experience was watching them work. You didn't hear complaining. They did jobs like my girl crew, worked and sweated like men, and we did an awesome job. They did. And all of them. When they weren't working hard and being a light and shining, they were like writing notes to each other that we put in bags just to encourage each other. I can't tell how many times I was like tired and just wanted to like go lay down, and I walk through the communal area, and these kids are writing like notes to each other, and I'm like, that's amazing. They love each other. They're loving like Jesus, and it floors me. So that's my favorite experience, is just watching these kids, getting to know these kids. What I learned, Zach said from the very beginning, you need an attitude of it's not about you. And I'm like, I can do that. From the beginning, I had to say it's not about me. From the moment my shoe broke on the way out there to endless other things that were uncomfortable. What I realized, or what I guess God taught me, he showed me my heart for these kids. I already loved them, but I didn't really want to step into ministry because, well, it was about me, right? And I feel pretty inadequate. Like, I don't have a lot of good answers for really hard questions. So what he did for me during devotion time was he showed me that my job is to love them relentlessly and to pray for them and to be there. And the rest is up to him. He showed me that I could trust him, and I seen some miracles. I seen hard questions on Sunday night, questions that I couldn't answer. And by Friday night, I seen what Jesus did that week. I seen it in the things they said, and I seen it in their faces. So he showed me that he is so trustworthy. So I'm excited to see what's ahead, because I love these kids, and I wanna be here. So.
I have to find my page real quick. There we go. Oh, boy. Yeah, so I'm not good at this, so if I don't look up through this entire thing, I don't want to insult you. It's just there are a lot of people here, and I am not a people person, so you terrify me. Okay. This is going to be a bit. Well, I suppose I should actually look up for this one. I want to, first of all, because they all did it and now I feel like I have to do it, I want to thank you for your money. That was great. Really fun.